Hello, and welcome to another World of UX podcast. I'm your host, Darren Hood. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. A special welcome, as always, to those of you joining us for the first time. I am flipping the introduction today, and I want to start off the show by encouraging people to go out and check out the Kaizen Tees website. That's KAIZENTEES.com. You can go out there and check out our t-shirts. You can check out our mugs, check out our caps, a lot of different merchandise where we put some of our little sayings, some of the little things we do to help promote pure UX among UX practitioners. We are continuing with the Talk Circuit series, and today I'm going back a few years. I believe it's 2021. I'm going to share a talk where I shared the stage with someone that worked at Adobe, and the topic of this talk was artificial intelligence. We talked about what we saw coming in the near future with regard to the use of this technology in UX spaces. And I thought I'd go ahead and share this one. Let's look and see how on point we are, how on target we are, how accurate we are with our thoughts and what we said would be coming. We've had 4 years to digest this. So let's take a look, shall we? Enjoy and see you at the end.
Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the panel discussion by Design Development Days 2021. And this event is sponsored by Adobe XD. And we have some eminent personalities with us here for the panel discussion today. And of course, as you know, you must have seen the people. They are none other than Mr. Darren Hood and Mr. Harshit Agrawal. I would be taking this moment to introduce them to you before they join in. They'll be joining us in a while. And yeah, I can still see the excitement. Okay, so first we have with us Mr. Darren Hood. He is extremely passionate about all things UX, holding 20 plus years of experience design in UX, CX, and LX, with the last 16 plus years working full-time in the world of UX. Darren's professional footprint spans such organizations as Michigan State University, Ford Motor Company, General Motors, Bosch, Ryder, United's Wholesale Mortgage, Quicken Loans, and much more. He serves as an adjunct professor for Kent State University's UX Design's Master Program, Kent, Ohio, and also an adjunct at Lawrence Technological University in Southfield. He leads the UX workshops at Grand Circus in Detroit, Michigan. He is also the host of the World of UX podcast, available through various popular sources. And the second speaker is Mr. Harshit Agrawal. He is a designer at Adobe Design Lab, a team which explores emerging technologies and their potential to enable new opportunities in creative thinking and expression. Apart from his work at Adobe, he's India's first and foremost AI artist and regarded among the pioneers of AI art movement internationally. Harshit was the only Indian artist among 7 international AI art pioneers in the world's first AI art show in a contemporary art gallery, that's Gradient Descent at Nature Morte. His work is a part of the permanent exhibition at largest computer science museum in the world, HNF Museum in Germany. He is a part of prestigious cohort of INK fellows as well, and he has given lots of TED Talks. His work has been extensively covered in international media as well. So our panel is here. Panel, we are really honored to have you here with us, and our audience is equally excited as us. We are thrilled and we are super excited to have you here. We hope that it's a great opportunity and audience take full advantage of this and make the most of it, and we get to learn a lot from you all. Thank you so much, and I would hand over to Prashant, and let's start with the panel discussion.
Yeah. So, hey Darren, hey Harshit. So
Hello.
it's the time now. We were waiting from a lot of days, it's been 10 to 12 days we were waiting for this session, this panel discussion. And it's such a pleasure to have you, Mr. Darren and Mr. Harshit here.
Glad to be here.
So can we start?
Likewise. Yeah, please. Thank you so much for such nice introduction. Excited to be here as well with Darren. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yep, same here.
Okay. So to the audience, you can also put your views, your thinking, your thoughts on the points here in the comment section. And if you have any queries, you can ask also in the comment section. So make it interactive, and we will be trying to present your questions to our panels in a better way possible. So the very first thing we were starting. My first question is uh, from both of you. So what according to you is UX? Mr. Darren, please put your thoughts on it. What according to you is UX?
Sure thing. Okay, and thanks again for having me today. Very happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Get that in now. UX to me it involves using a wealth of methods, methodologies, deliverables, techniques. You put all of these things together. When I say that, I'm referring to usability, heuristics, information architecture, research, different research methods, interface and interaction design, all of those things. You use whichever ones are best suited for whatever it is that you're working on to help drive an optimal experience for users, as well as driving success for the business. That's how I describe UX.
Great. And what about you, Mr. Harshit?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with what Darren said. I think that is probably how I look at UX too. I think one additional aspect, if I were to add to that, is probably also at least for me, what is also exciting to think, apart from obviously creating products that are useful, delightful, easy to work with, etc. One, I think responsibility in some sense as a designer is also to create things that sort of push boundaries of what is possible. So in while sort of allowing or while catering to the UX techniques that Darren mentioned to push sort of, because like you know that the tools that you create end up sort of either enabling some things that can be made or not enabling those particular things. So in some sense, how can you have clever UX mechanisms that allow people to sort of create newer things or make newer use cases out of the tool itself is also, I think, something that I just want to add on to what Darren said. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on UX too.
Yeah. So thank you both of you for your enlightening points on UX. So what do you think when you hear the term AI? First, we will be hearing Mr. Harshit.
So AI, I think, is I mean, AI as a way to think about computing has existed for a long, long time, and in some sense, the quest for creating computers began through the quest, or parallelly, the quest for understanding the human mind. If you go back to Marvin Minsky and the Society of Mind and so on. But as of now, I think today, in a practical sense, AI is about making good sense of data that you have around you to take better decisions, more informed decisions. And on the other end, especially from, let's say, Adobe standpoint, in terms of how can we leverage that data to create new opportunities for creation. Like Adobe allows you to then sort of like in your Photoshop features, it's learned visual understanding of the world. So then things like object select and so on become possible, which expedite the process of your traditional systems that were more not intelligent in terms of only working with pixel color values, but now they're beginning to understand semantically what this particular visual or image contains. So in some sense, that is all based on obviously the computer learning from lots of data, tagged data by humans, that what does this particular thing mean, and then can that learning be used to then enhance capabilities for the end user? So yeah, practically, I think that's what AI translates to today. But it always will, I think, remain also as a quest to ultimately understand intelligence itself.
Okay, great explanation from you. So the same question goes to Darren.
When I think of AI, three things come to mind. One is technology imitating its human counterparts, so about replication, if you will. Excellence with repetitive tasks. I think that's one of the places where AI today really has nailed it. And I love what he mentioned about Photoshop. I absolutely love what they've done in the latest version of Photoshop, like sky replacement, because I'm a photographer also. And what it does, the way it uses AI to optimize making the most out of an image is just an absolutely wonderful thing. I also use, there's another application, a competitor, which I won't mention, that does some great things in that arena as well. But I love what happens with AI and software. It's absolutely wonderful. The third thing that comes to mind for me is optimization. It's a way to do things, coupled with speed. It's a way to do things when used properly in an extremely fast way, but not only fast, but extremely beneficial, where you can go from 0 to 60 cognitively in a matter of seconds. Whereas if you try to do the same exact thing manually, it could take you much, much longer. So that's what I think of when I think of AI.
Okay,
Okay, I
so
guess
we
we
have got to
start.
know about the yeah, there was a technical issue, I guess. So here we got to know about the UX and AI from you both. So my next question is firstly to Darren. How can we interrelate AI and UX to build better products for the near future?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me, and I know there's been a lot of articles produced on this, there's a lot of buzz. I don't think as much buzz as there's going to be. And I think this could be a really huge year from an AI UX perspective because of what people are saying. And a lot of people are not really delving into it. I did find out that there's a conference coming up at Stanford University on this same topic. So now it's time to start running to these conferences and learning about this, because whereas I think that it's a great opportunity, it's also a dangerous. There's some elements of danger associated with it. And I think that we can sort of garrison ourselves from the dangers by becoming more educated about it, so we can make solid and more informed steps going forward. But the way I see AI and UX related to build better products, I think that there's a lot of low-hanging fruit. The biggest, something I do when I come into a new company or I get in on some projects, one of the first things I want to do is bring value as quickly as I can. And you do that by finding the low-hanging fruit. And I think that AI, because it's now, I mean, Photoshop's been doing things for a long time, and then AI is taking it up to new levels when it comes to UX. It's just coming into the marriage, the relationship between AI and UX is just getting started. And I think that the low-hanging fruit, similar to what I mentioned, what I do when I come into a company, I think that low-hanging fruit needs to be identified. And heuristics might be one of the places. And of course, we're going to say some things about that later. But there are some things that can be done. However, AI is still at its core is still programming. And so it will always be limited to the input that goes into it. So, and that's another reason why I say, hey, let's if we're going to do this AI thing, let's get the low-hanging fruit. I've heard about these AI-driven website designs that are becoming available now, and it sort of reminds me of like Wix. I think Wix actually was doing something, and I actually hate Wix, but because there are just certain things that you just can't do with AI. But all that said, it's all about the programming. What the data that goes in is going to determine how well the output delights and provides the resources and the need, meets the needs, matches the mental models. There's your challenge, matches the mental models of the people that
that it's building solutions for. So that's the big challenge. That's the big focus. And we're going to be there for some years, in my opinion, trying to nail that.
Okay, great. So the same goes for Mr. Harshit. So what are your views and your points on this question?
Yeah, again, I echo what Darren said largely. And I think one thing that Darren particularly mentioned about the data that goes in sort of informs what comes out. And in classic like AI lingo, it's sort of garbage in, garbage out. So I think that is something that as designers, or as UX professionals, we need to be very, very careful of. In some sense, the responsibility for that falls centrally on us, because the engineers and the tech people are about driving percentages of accuracy up and up and up. And so that is sort of their ball game to a large extent. But in the end, is that technology solving a real human problem or not? And it doesn't just mean that if you have a hammer, everything looks like nails. So if you have an AI algorithm, it doesn't mean that you sort of force fit that everywhere, right? And is there a real problem that you have identified, and then sort of reverse engineer from that problem to solving that problem through using AI more as, in some sense, a capability rather than this sort of magical thing that does everything to a large extent. And the thing about data collection being also sort of the fears that Darren was mentioning, I think they're very real, because particularly because it's all data driven, till what extent are you informing the end users that certain data is being collected? How are you thinking about more machine learning AI on device rather than sort of on cloud? And those kinds of things, I think, become super important for a designer to then bring onto the table of discussing when AI-driven UX is being discussed, or AI-driven products are being discussed.
I think that was a wonderful answer. Prashant, I would like to take over from here. I have a question that to both of y'all that I mean, this has been troubling me a lot. Like, what is AI driven UX? And what do you think that if this can ever be UX driven AI? Harshit, what are your points on this?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, when we talk of AI-driven UX, in some sense, like at least the immediate thing that I think of when that term is mentioned is sort of, and that has been a practice in the industry for a long time, sort of your A/B testing kind of models or something like that, where you're saying that we have conclusive data about a particular design that works, or we've identified, if maybe it's not just one or two elements then, but if you're really expanding it to an AI level, you have all these algorithms like which sort of create this heat map of where does a user usually look at, what are the most targeted spaces in a given visual or an artboard or something that catch people's attention. And not just, I mean, like you have data to back that up basically, and not just sort of preconceived notions. So that in some sense starts informing what the user experience could be, like what are people's expectations out of a certain thing. And in some sense, the reverse of that is, I think, what Darren and I were talking about in the previous question, is that you keep the user experience at its core, and you use that to inform what AI should help you do, like what kind of algorithm should be focused on, what kind of data needs to be collected. So that sort of becomes the UX driven AI. So yeah, those are two sort of sides to this AI UX marriage, I guess.
Okay, that was a great answer, Harshit. Thank you. And Darren, what are your points on this?
I love
Can
what
we
Harshit.
actually make it UX driven AI? I mean, can we say that?
I think that we can. I love what Harshit mentioned, especially how AI,
Right.
this is a lot of the things I've seen talk about how this should be a partnership, and how that AI, just to sort of put out the fires of any anxieties that might be associated with the topic we're discussing. A lot of the people who are putting together this AI driven UX is not to replace humans. It is to accentuate what it is that we're doing. And when I think about the heat mapping that he mentioned, when you look at certain tools out there to provide the heat maps that help to inform, that's one of the big deliverables that AI driven UX, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to inform us. Okay, people are looking here. Okay, people are looking over here. And so then the human perspective comes into play, because you're not going to be able to program KPI fulfillment into AI, nor is anybody even proposing that. But there's information that can be provided. We can't heat map. We're not equipped to do it. As a human being, I can't tell you where the person looked. I can guess, but I can't do anything like that. When you think about the like a company like Adobe, you can put a device on your head and it can tell you that a person, when they engage with a certain part, a certain micro experience, they begin to perspire or their pupils dilate. We can't see that. So this is one of those, these are the types of opportunities where AI driven UX, it takes us up several notches, and it allows us at the core of what we do is value. So AI driven UX, through this types of information that it provides, can help drive value. It helps drive speed. It is algorithm dependent, and we've got to get some really good minds that we can draw from to make this thing work. If we oversimplify it, it will fail. It will fall flat on its face. The entire movement.
Right.
But intelligent modeling is supposed to come out of it. And I have to throw this in there too. Some people see AI driven UX as being proactive, and I dial back on that a little bit, because it depends upon the level of expertise of the people you're talking about. So it can give you, I don't see it as proactive. I see it as supplementary, that is giving you information that we could not gain. Either we couldn't get it as humans, we couldn't derive it as humans, or we couldn't do it nearly as fast. Now we're talking value. Value has to be at the core, and we're the ones who understand the value. We're the ones. The AI is not going to sign off on the check to get the work done. So the humans have to make those decisions. If we think about these things, speed, value, build solid algorithms that will give us information that try to suppress or avoid bias, because we've got a program to account for, what is it, 128 cognitive biases? That's a lot of work. Try to account for all of those biases, because a lot of AI efforts today are biased. They're full of bias. So they're cultural agnostic. But when you're doing UX, you have to be aware of cultural, and when a human is there. So all of these things we have to do. If AI driven UX will work, we have to have these things in place.
That was a great answer. I think that answers the question completely. Thank you so much, Harshit and Darren, for answering that. We have a question from the audience. Khyati has asked, it's not really related to AI, but we have would love to know what should be a sought out plan for a person who is very interested in learning about user experience. I personally would love to know about it entirely.
Oh, wow.
I think we can go to Darren for this question.
Okay. Oh man, I just delivered a talk on this a week ago. I'll have the video soon, about issues associated with UX education. And there are a lot of issues on several fronts, because some people, they want to learn too fast, and they engage in education where zeal is the thing that drives you, which will cause you to make heady or rash choices. So I talked about something in the talk that I delivered a couple of weeks ago, what I called educational economics. And you need to to understand how you operate, what types of environments you learn best in. You need to look at the different types of, I'm giving you a condensed version of this. You have to look at the types of opportunities that are available out there for your learning. Do you like asynchronous learning? Do you like synchronous learning? A lot of people don't even know that those things come into play. Do you want to learn in person, whether it's virtual or not? Or are you happy with self-paced type of work where somebody can tell you what's going on and then give you a due date and then you work on it? But the big thing, though, is the issue of patience. Because as I think you folks know, I'm very anti-boot camp. I'm very anti-UX boot camp because there's a gross lack of ethics associated with boot camp education. I am an educator also. I'm actually on the verge of getting my 3rd and 4th professorships while I'm working full time, and I'm getting my PhD in educational leadership. So I was working in education before I was working in UX. So I see a lot of times you have this and sort of giving you more information about this boot camp, that there's pedagogical issues, the way that curriculums are designed, the way that the courses are designed. They're not done correctly. These learning institutions are not accredited, and people don't realize how valuable it is to get an education from an accredited institution where somebody has looked at the way that the learning experience has been put together and signed off on it, that this is appropriate, because it is a science. Just like UX is a science, LX is a science too, which is what I do now full time at Michigan State University. You can't just throw information at people and say that you're helping them to learn something. And a lot of times this is what happens. And they promise you, oh, you can learn this in 6 months. No, you can't. I'm here to tell you, you can't. And then they complain, oh, I can't find a job. Yeah, because you microwaved your learning experience and now you want everything to fall into place. Well, it doesn't work that way. So we have to be patient. There are some great programs that are starting to pop up. I am starting to endorse, if university is not for you, and it's not for everybody, either you don't want to do it or you don't want to pay, depending upon where you are. Some people can go to university for free, some can't. In the States, we can't. So you do have access to what we call, if university isn't for you, you can go to a MOOC. We call it a MOOC, MOOC, Massive Open Online Learning, or Massive Open Online Courses. That's what MOOC stands for, MOOC. And Coursera has a fantastic program that is offered in conjunction with the University of Michigan. And it teaches you the design side of UX and the research side of UX. And if I remember correctly, it's $49 a month for 9 months. That's a big difference from $7,000 to $25,000 American dollars that you'll pay if you go to a boot camp, only for somebody to give you empty promises. You can I guarantee you'll find a job. Nobody can guarantee you find a job. That's one of the signs that you're being sold a bill of goods. That's not going to work. So I'm just out here saying it. It's recorded. I say it all the time. I'm not running from the boot camps or hiding from them. It's a bad educational experience. It just is. So if you want to learn about UX, check out the MOOCs, check out Coursera, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll send you the link. Cornell University has a program now that is about $3,600 American dollars. And they teach you the same types of things, but it's accredited. You get real teachers, not people who graduated last week. That does happen at boot camps. They graduate on Monday and they're teaching people on Thursday. That's not ethical at all. They have no experience and they're not teachers. Everybody can't teach. So there's a huge problem. And sorry for going on so long about this, but somebody really pushed my button when you bring that topic up. Not good. So, and no matter where you go, the learning never ends. When you sign up to be a UX person, you have signed up for lifelong learning. So you're going to have a personalized learning network no matter what you do. Always with the books, always with the videos, always with the podcasts, and you're always learning, and it never ends. You never arrive in UX, ever.
So true. I remember each one of the word that we had, the last session, I remember you said the same things and I could relate. I hope that answers your question, Khyati. Yeah. So, Harshit, would you like to add something to it, or can we proceed?
No, I think, yeah, Darren definitely covered all the points about education. I totally agree with the point of it's a lifelong learning process, and if it excites
Yeah.
you, then go for it. Uh, yeah.
Okay, then let's
Okay,
move on to the next
Harshit.
question. Shant.
Yeah, yeah. Harshit, in your previous answer on the question about interrelation between the AI and UX, you have mentioned a point the magic in AI. So, what do you think what is the magic in AI? Like people are shifting towards the AI. We are observing a big count of people shifting to AI now. So they are like making a future, the face of future. AI is the face of future. So, what is that magic in the AI?
Yeah, I mean, the magic is definitely, I think, the ability to now have some entity, some computing entity, be able to process the amount of data that as humans we could never have, and then come up with patterns or come up with sort of an understanding from that data set that again as humans it would be virtually impossible for us to do. I think that is probably the magic of AI. So as Darren was also mentioning, like devices like the Toby and things like seeing heat maps and all, like that is just beyond physical capabilities of a human. It's just not possible. So that, like, if you can leverage those to then create experiences that are much more personalized, much more in with the times, much more sort of relevant to the actual user needs. I think that becomes the magic of AI. The repetitive tasks getting automated so that there is enough room for you. And I speak from sort of the Adobe product pipeline. There's enough room for you as a creative to then do what you want to do rather than sort of spending time on repetitive tasks that you might as well have automated. But having said that, there is obviously also it can be a double-edged sword, like with most technologies is. So you have to be very careful of what you automate and what you sort of keep a balance between providing augmentation versus automation. So I think that sort of balance is very tricky. It's not there's no predefined formula for that. Like how do you ensure augmentation and not like pure automation? And that is where I think UX designers or designers in general come in. So I think that needs to be kept in mind based on the magic of AI to not get swept away completely and like automate things that probably may not have been automated in the first place. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, cool. So, Darren, do you have any views on this topic?
No, I will add just one little thing. I'm going to connect the last question I had with what Harshit just mentioned. With the problems that we have today in UX education, if people who have been educated through, what can I say, if the education is not thorough, and with regard to UX, if UX is misunderstood, people say UX is a mindset. No, it's not. UX is a process. No, it's not. Since when does a process use a process? Okay, so no, it's not. If people who do not understand UX give weighted input on the algorithms, then what AI does will fall short. Just to show you how important education is. Google just rolled out a certificate program. You notice that I did not endorse it. Google is a great company. They're a big company. They've done fantastic things. And I think we all know that. Goes without saying. Proof's in the pudding. But just because you're good at these 5 things doesn't mean you should be doing these 5 things. And as an educator, As an expert in the world of education, as well as the world of UX, the last thing that I want to see somebody building education on, the last person I want to see doing that is somebody that's good at something else. That does not make you a good educator. Pat on the back, Google, for all the great things you've done, but you're coming into an arena that you don't own as an educator. So that type of thing, and they're talking, oh, you can go through our program in 6 months and learn all you need. You'll never learn. I've been doing this full time for 16 years, totally for 25, and I still don't know everything that I could possibly know. I've got to learn a whole bunch now about AI. Thanks, Harshit. So I'm just messing with Harshit. but seriously, now we gotta, how much on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I know now about AI? So now I'll be continuing to learn the rest of my life about AI, and what can I do? What can I do to help make AI better? I'm looking forward to that. So no, they're going to educate people, and anybody can throw together something that says, well, learn this, and then you go and do some wireframes, and then you do some prototypes, and voila, you're a UX person. There's way more to it than that. And so as long as people keep giving these shallow educational experiences, that's a threat. I consider that a threat to the well-being of what we're talking about here with AI, because eventually those people are going to have something to say. We can't stop it. And then there's going to be a problem, and then we'll end up all doing a talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking on your point, what's your advice to the young UX designers now?
Do you want me to take that up?
Darren, to Darren.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
What's your advice to the young UX designers?
For the young UX designers, learn. Number one. Number two, be careful where you learn. Don't spend your whole day reading Medium articles. There is a very small fraction of content on Medium. I actually just started writing on Medium to try to put some value out there. So you have to watch what you do. Be careful of everything that says UX is not. Don't go to places like Dribbble or Behance to learn about UX. Those are visual design domains. They're not UX domains. So don't believe, if you ever see a post that says before UX, after UX, just keep scrolling. Don't pay attention to that. That's not UX at all. People are oversimplifying. So learning is the biggest thing that you can do. Build on your passion. If you're excited, you're interested, and you're willing to invest. That's one of the other things I talked about when I did my talk about the educational economics. How much are you willing to invest? So we're not just talking money now. When we talk about investment, how much effort are you willing to put into this? Are you willing to commit for the long haul? Are you looking for a job or a career? See, those types of things will determine what you put into it, because you're only going to get out of this what you put into it. So learn, be committed for the long haul, but you have to learn how to I know it's a catch-22. You have to learn how to vet your sources. You have to learn where to get information from and where not, which is going to be difficult to do. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to tap into resources that are not good. You're going to have to learn. That really was, I don't think I'll listen to that anymore. There was one resource, unnamed resource, that I used to tap into. I can't tap into it anymore because there's a few of them actually, because the information that they're starting to share dangerous and misguided information about the discipline and about what UX really is. Again, I've been doing this totally for 25 years, and I'm still throwing things out in the trash. So it's something that you will, as you continue to build your UX acumen, you'll get better at it. So just stay the course. Don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes, because you're going to make them. It's like the baby that you have a newborn baby, and the baby starts walking to you. We've all seen it. The baby walks to you and the baby falls. And the baby doesn't, you ever notice that babies couldn't care less about falling? They fall, then they get up because they're determined to come to you, and they resume the journey. We have to have that same mindset. When you fall, just get up. Don't make a big deal out of it. If you don't know something, so what? We all learned. We all used to be ignorant about this topic at some point in time, and look at us now. So everybody, give yourself a chance to grow. Be patient with yourself. So that's the other thing I've got. Be patient, be diligent, but be patient. Learn, and keep going forward. That's it. And again, you'll learn what and what not to tap into. But I will throw this one other thing out there before Harshit taps in on this. When you see somebody writes an article on Medium, before you read the article, go and check out their LinkedIn profile. How long have they been working in UX? What subject are they trying to address? Because a lot of times you can just that quick. That person's been doing UX for 2 years, and what are they writing about? The person has been on Instagram. A person has been doing UX for 6 months, and they're trying to offer mentor services. They've only been doing the work for 6 months. What are you going to mentor me on how to tie my shoes? I mean, seriously. I mean, really, no. And then people say, well, when you mentor somebody, it's a two-way street. I've never been mentored by anybody in my life that I was mentoring. That's just something to make the mentors feel good or the mentees feel good. So you got to be, if you want to excel at this too, you got to be realistic. So a lot of these the toxic positivity, I wrote an article about that on Medium. You have to learn how to spot toxic positivity and get away from it because it will destroy you. It will cause you to bring value of your work down. And eventually the C-level, the C-suite, your leaders are going to figure out that you're not bringing value and out you go. So so use that same energy and do the right thing, and you'll be happier for it in the long run.
Cool. So Harshit, do you have any more point to add?
No, I think, again, Darren, I think really captured all the points very beautifully. I think echoing Darren again, I think the biggest sort of thing for me is like every other field also, but this one particularly is a very evolving field, very fast paced at that. So you have to sign up to be a lifelong learner. You have to be, I think one other thing that I find that is very much related to that is you have to be very adaptable in your approach, in the sense that you have to embrace that there are going to be changes, people, maybe because of things that you build or things that other people have built, their mental models are going to change, new technologies are going to happen, new ways of living life are going to happen. Things like a pandemic might happen, and that completely changes the way people live and do things, and that all that requires you to be sort of be ready to adapt yourself to these kinds of things. And the way to do that is to have a foundation that is strong enough that you're not just sort of, and again, I think the thing that Darren was mentioning, if you've done like a 6-month course, you just know those 5-6 things, and then you can't just bring them onto a new sort of situation immediately, because you haven't built from the foundation up. If you build from the foundation up, you can then quickly adapt around new things that are thrown at you. So I think that is extremely critical, especially I think the times that we have today. Things change very rapidly, things move very rapidly. So yeah, that's just a little bit that I want to mention, and in addition to what Darren has also already very beautifully captured. Yeah.
Harshit dropped.
Yeah.
Prashant,
you're on mute. Yeah. Dublin, you're on mute. Your microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really very, very, very sorry. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, once again, I'm sorry. I said by the time he is not here, let's take some questions from the chat section. We have some questions here. Okay, this is, how close do you think planning a user flow is to an algorithm? Who should I go to take this question?
I could begin answering that, and I think it's a very interesting question. I sort of have a background both in computer science and design, a minor degree sort of in computer science and a design degree. So I think in that sense, algorithms are, to me, they're more like fixed, determined structures that you sort of run repetitively. Um, the beauty, I think, with AI is that you no longer need to treat user flows as fixed entities. Rather, you can treat user flows as entities that are dynamic in the sense that respond to different kinds of users differently. So it's not one algorithm fits everyone or one solution fits everyone, but rather using the power of machine learning, you're sort of, just as what happens with, let's say, your WhatsApp messaging app or your sort of predictor apps, right, where they predict what your next word is going to be or something. They are solutions that are customized to your writing styles or to your texting styles. So there, if the user flow in some sense becomes, it could even go to the extent of sort of predicting whether at what points do you use sort of the text complete more often. Do you use it at night or do you use it in the morning when you're short on time? And maybe those features surface only then. So in that sense, I think the user flow aspect by itself should be dynamic because every individual is unique. And AI allows to actually make that happen, like bring that sort of dynamic thing to life now. So welcome back, Prashant. So yeah, I think that is what I would say is probably the difference between an algorithm and a user flow. Especially with AI, I see that these two things sort of deviating in the extent of one becoming more personalized, when the algorithm remains the basic recipe with which you personalize things for everyone.
Since you're back, would you like to continue or should I take the question?
Yeah, I'll dive on this one. Harshit actually stirred me up on that one. You guys didn't know this about me, but my bachelor's was in IT. And so listening to Harshit talk about that made me think about my old system analysis and design course that I went through, and a combination of some of that work that we would do in system analysis and design with the actors and looking at all the different steps, things of that nature, your standard user flows. And then I start thinking, bring it up into the UX world and the CX world. I start thinking about experience maps and journey maps. And so one of the things I think, thinking about the question that came forth, I think that task flows, it depends upon the depth of the task flow when you think about the algorithms, because when I think about an experience map and a journey map, and I think about some of those documents we used to create in system analysis and design, that's where it gets back to what we're thinking about with what's going to go into the algorithm, what type of data is going to go in there, because a task flow is usually very high level. Usually they're going to be done very, very quickly, and nobody's really searching for depth. When you get into experience and journey maps, you begin to identify micro experiences and micro interactions. Now we're talking some data that we didn't have access to before. And so if we can understand the experience at the level of an experience or a journey map, especially a journey map, more detailed, it's broader based. And so when you get that information, and if you can use that information to build an algorithm, you're going to be more successful with your AI initiative than if you depend upon a general task flow. A lot of the interactive voice responses, which is AI based, you call somewhere, press 1 to do this, press 2, press or say 1, press or say 2, and they have a lot of those times. You can tell by how bad our experiences are that it's based on too high of a level of data. It's probably based on task flows, so a lot of things get missed. And then everybody's upset. I don't want to have to call that company because it's terrible, because they didn't get into the details. And interestingly, people, the satisfaction and the dissatisfaction or the annoyance levels, there's a very thin line between the two. And they're usually based on whether or not the micro experiences and the micro interactions have been identified and accounted for in the design. So if you look at the experience maps and the journey maps, you're going to get more detail and you can build a better algorithm. If you use a task flow, you're going to account for certain things, then you're going to miss a ton of things. And now the annoyance factor is going to be off the charts and the experience is going to fail. Algorithms or no, whether it's just UX or if it's AI driven UX, both will fail if you haven't identified the micro experiences and micro interactions.
That was a great answer. So moving on to the next question, we have this question: what is human-centered AI design? Harshit, we would be taking this question to you first.
Sorry, this time I missed the words.
What is human-centered AI design?
Right. Human-centered AI design. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't really want to spend too much time on this because human-centered design is what human-centered design is. And I think every AI-related design should be human-centered, unless you have ulterior motives or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the words as they are. Like, you're designing from a human-centered approach. You're using data to probably solve problems that exist that couldn't have been solved without the existence of data, but you're solving them from a human-centered approach. So you're keeping in mind sort of the expectations that a user has, the motivations that a user has for doing a certain task, and you're solving from that point of view. And sometimes that could even mean things like how do you ease or sort of build a bridge between the current user expectation and the expectation that you want them to get to, because AI can sort of magically do things instantly now. So sometimes you have to sort of build those bridges between completely new experience that you're trying to get customers to adapt to because you now have the power of AI, which you didn't have earlier. But you need to make sure that people sort of don't sort of feel petrified by it, or sort of feel terrified, like, did I miss something? Did this actually happen or not? Is there enough feedback from the system on a particular thing that has now suddenly been automated, for which they probably had to wait a minute for that particular task to happen, that has been expedited to be just happening instantly? So can you sort of communicate that in a way that that the whole user experience, user expectation model is still intact, and they're eased into this new kind of experience? So I think all those kinds of things. Also, the aspect of motivation that I mentioned, or the reason for doing a thing. Again, especially speaking from my experience with Adobe and how we think with AI. So, like, the creative expression which Adobe CC Creative Cloud allows you to do is also a very human thing, right? It allows you to feel joy of creation, and maybe people don't want parts of that to be automated. Maybe they do want parts of that to be automated. So sort of giving that option to the user, like, you can go ahead and do the sky replacement yourself if you want to, in the way that you are used to. But we are offering this other alternate way of doing it through the click of a button, instead of sort of forcing you into this new paradigm, and sort of maybe removing your joy of meditative creation. So that sort of is the kind of motivation that I'm talking about. Can you offer alternates, or can you offer new ways of doing things without hijacking the motivation or the intention of the user? So I think, yeah, those are probably some of the prime human-centered ways of looking at AI design. But in essence, yeah, humans first, technology second.
Darren, any inputs on this one?
No, we'll just ride with that one. That was fantastic. Love it.
Okay. Thank you so much then. Prashant, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, sorry, I have some technical issues, so I have to turn off my video. Okay, so we are moving forward. How do you see the future in terms of UX and AI? To Darren.
I tend to agree with what the experts are saying that we already covered issues like with the heat mapping and things like that. I think those are no-brainers. I think that those already are bringing value to the world of UX. I do think also that it's when you look at there's certain low-hanging fruit in the world of heuristics, because I've seen people talk about, oh, you can do an AI heuristic analysis. And that one, I think you can do some things with when it comes to heuristic analysis. For example, and I actually listed these down so I didn't forget them. You can check out the system status. I'm back up a moment. When people talk about doing AI heuristic-based heuristic analyses, for some reason, people seem to think that Jacob Nielsen was the only person that ever produced a set of heuristics, and he was not. So he produced 10 heuristics, and the AI can address most of it. Can't even address all 10 of those effectively. So you have the system status, help and documentation, user control and freedom, the minimalist design. But then the other ones, when you get into things like recognition over recall, I question how well AI would be able to address that. And then when you look at some of the other schools of thought, Susan Weinschenk and Dean Barker came up with a set of heuristics once. Bruce Tognazini came up with some interaction design principles that are really heuristic when you take a look at them. Can you really account for those? Not as well. Abby Covert and the Understanding Group came up with what I think is the most practical set of heuristics, and AI would be hit and miss because there's too much of a human factor that comes into place, and the ability to adjust quickly because the mental model shifts. And when the mental model shifts, if the algorithm does not account for that shift in the mental model in a moment like that, you're not going to get any results. So for example, again, things like semiotic variance. And some people say, Darren, what in the world did you just say? Well, there's something that's in heuristics. Semiotics has to do with signage and how people pick up on it. You mostly see semiotics as it relates to iconography. Well, being that there are less than 10% of icons in the world that are understood without text, there's no way in the world that you're going to account for that degree of semiotic variance. Now you got it. You're not going to be able to account for that semiotic variance with AI because the variables change too often and too much. So, but if you have a human perform a heuristic analysis, we can, on the fly, we can address semiotic variance, and we can tell whether or not it's common convention, best practice, proven principles, which is really what heuristics revolve around. We mentioned earlier cultural elements. That's a part of heuristics as well. Matter of fact, somebody listed cultural propriety as a heuristic. Nielsen didn't, somebody else did. And I believe that was Weinschenk and Barker that listed that. AI is not going to be able to account for that. Findability. Can AI account for that to a degree? Not completely, I don't think. Credibility, learnability. These are things that involve too much of the engagement with the human mind. So we can do some things with AI. And I'm all for doing as much as you can, but I've heard people talk about doing the entire thing with AI, and that's just not only is it not doable, it is not really desirable. And those people who are entry-level people, you think you're struggling now sometime to find a new UX gig? Let this AI, somebody say, try to get AI to do your job. And guess who's going to get pushed out the door? It's not going to be the seniors. So we need to understand that now so we don't have those battles later. So that's where we have some issues there. I think that those are where some of the limitations. So if we focus on things the right way, I think some of the experts are getting it. Some people are writing these articles and they're not experts and they shouldn't be writing at all. Thank you, Medium. With their no editor policy out there. But that's what I see with regard to the future. It's a thing. It's already a thing to a degree. And there are some things that'll help us do in the future, but not as broadly as some people think.
Okay, Harshit, are there any inputs from your side?
Nothing particular. I think Darren has covered most of the things. And yeah, the future, the question of the future of UX and AI, I think like we've been speaking, it's exciting. It's something that all of us should try and learn more about, and sort of through that steer the conversation in ways that are human-centric rather than that are just sort of we have the technology, put it to use somehow or the other, not that kind of an approach.
Okay, so we would be taking one question from the audience. There's a question: what's different in the design in the sites like Gmail, Instagram, and Facebook that gets us hooked to it?
I bet it's part of that.
Okay, I'll just say that again. What's different in the design in sites like Gmail, Instagram, and Facebook that gets us hooked to it? Darren?
Yeah, I'll start that out.
I'll go to you first. I'll go to you.
Okay. When we think about getting hooked to it, and there's a book called Hooked, by the way. I do highly recommend that book. I think that the key is, when I think about Gmail, it's need. Everybody wants to get their email. So I think that Google through Gmail delivered a solution that very quickly and easily, and through fantastic minimalist design, was able to help us to achieve our email related needs in a way that was quick. It was succinct. Not a lot of bells and whistles, no ads, all these other things. Because there's not really much difference between Gmail, Yahoo Mail, and Outlook. Well, which used to be Hotmail, when you really look at it. But it's just that when Gmail came on the scene, it was a little more minimalistic than some of the other solutions. And so the momentum just got going and people jumped on board. And when they jumped on board, it's like, it's not broken. So why go somewhere else? And I think that that's part of what happened there. It met the need. It did it with extreme simplicity. The ease of use was great. You don't have many complex issues, if any, that come up with Gmail at all. So they met a need because everybody's got to pull their email from somewhere. And so that got the job done. When you look at Instagram and you consider that mental model with Gmail, Instagram and Facebook, the mental models shift. When people go into Facebook, they're looking to engage and interact, usually with friends, or to tap into different resources. I follow a ton of photography groups out there on Facebook. So people are looking to interact. They're looking to learn. They're looking to be informed about events. There's a little bit more of a social need that Facebook is fulfilling. And frankly, Facebook was doing it better than any of the alternatives. There are other ones like MeWe. People don't even know what MeWe is. MeWe is a Facebook alternative that does the same exact things, does a few things differently. And from a certain perspective, it's a lot cleaner than Facebook is. But people, because the adoption is so great, and they have that same momentum that Gmail got. The adoption is so great, and nobody really ever tried to truly compete with Facebook. Rich, if somebody did right now, somebody on this call right now, if you've got an idea, go for it, because a lot of people on Facebook actually hate it. People are tolerating Facebook. Just in case you didn't never consider that, come up with a solution, because nobody's challenging the Z-Man. Nobody's challenging Mark Zuckerberg on that one. When you look at Instagram was initially created for photographers. It was really a place for photographers to go and share. And there was a few places out there that did things on that line. I can't remember some of the names of some of them, but 500 Pixels was one. There's a few of them out there that do this. Yahoo owns one, and they all do different things. But this did it in a small form factor because it was mostly driven from a mobile perspective, to the extent that you can't even do everything in the desktop. Hint, if you change to a mobile viewpoint, you can do things on your desktop and Instagram, just in case you didn't know that. But just go into inspect mode and watch and refresh your screen and go for it. But the needs out there are different. It has expanded. Now a lot of businesses are out there. It's not just photographers anymore. But again, that mental model is what do our users looking to do, and how well can we do it? And that's what they did. So it's about the mental model, catering to that mental model, no matter what it is, whether it's not just Facebook and Instagram and Gmail. What are we catering to, and then making sure to do it well? And they have, outside of the really bad security on Instagram, has been really bad for years. And Facebook owns Instagram now, for those that didn't know that. They bought them a few years ago. So, but it's about catering to those needs. And that's what it is. So that's how they got their user base. That's how they drive it. And that's how they keep the loyalty that they have. Although most of the Facebook folks are prisoners to that, because there's no alternative. There are alternatives to Instagram, however, but a lot for photographers. But again, a lot of people have already shifted.
Harshit, what have you got to I noticed that.
It's going to happen once.
Yeah, no, I think like Darren mentioned, I think they solve very specific, very important user needs, especially platforms like Gmail, Instagram to some extent created a user need and then sort of became the number one solution for that need. And it gave us a sense of a social life where if you're not on it, you have this sort of FOMO feeling all the time that you're missing out on something. This whole it tapped into very human instincts of what we crave. We crave attention. We crave this sort of aspect of being a hero who's followed by X number of people, and for that particular day or moment, we can sort of curate how the world looks at us, and that need not be the real sort of the real you, right? Like you now have an opportunity where if someone's interacting with you in the real world, they're interacting with you in a real setting. There's as much you can sort of hide behind a social profile or something, right? If you're in the real world. But on Instagram, you are whatever you want to be. You can curate this alternate reality of yourselves. It almost gives you this new blank slate to sort of begin. And people inherently enjoy that. I mean, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but those are, I think it's very core human psychological needs that Instagram taps into that has really got people hooked on. And with I mean, even like the simple design things of like the infinite scroll of just sort of mindlessly consuming content, and never are you told that there's an end to the content, like you're done, please go outside or whatever. So it's just there everywhere, every time for you. So yeah, I think those are some reasons. I don't know. I mean, it solved its purpose, if that was the purpose, to get these many people hooked onto it. If it's the right purpose to solve or not, that is obviously an individual's choice at the end of the day.
Great. That was a great answer. Okay, so the next question is for Harshit. And the question is how to improve UX with AI and machine learning.
Yeah, I think we've over this last hour we've covered a few points for that. Primarily, I think sort of this aspect of making sure that user needs are kept at the center of the design process, even though there is AI. So you're solving for a real human problem at the end of the day. The other one being sort of, I think the power in some sense is to now create more personalized experiences that are really sort of driven by data that is collected about you, and you're not painted with a generic big paintbrush. You're rather sort of you feel that there is focus on you as an individual and how you interact with things, and how you as the user, you don't have to adapt to the tool or the solution or the tool adapts to you. So I think that is something that AI enables, and how that can improve UX drastically. And yeah, I think again, I think all this relates to the points that we've been discussing about sort of heat maps and understanding user behaviors, the subtleties more carefully in more detail, and incorporating all of that back into the UX design.
Amazing. So what's your views, Darren?
The one thing I wanted to add on to that is heuristic knowledge is not very broad. I talk to people all over the world who are working in UX. And one of the things I have a talk that I delivered that I call heuristics, the holy grail of UX, and how that, in short, one of the things I address in that talk is that every UX professional should be well versed in heuristics. And it should be the first thing out of everybody's toolbox, whether you're working on a new design, because new heuristics can inform new design, and it'll definitely inform redesign. But what I found is that a lot of people don't know anything about heuristics. They don't have what I call a personal heuristic repository. They don't have it. And people actually have started little mini revolts when I deliver this talk. They get angry and they lash out, which is a really unhealthy response. If you don't have, we said earlier, if you don't have something, then just go get it. There's no shame. We didn't say, okay, I delivered this talk, now you all need to lose your jobs. I didn't say that. But one of the things that AI will be able to do for people who do adopt this technology or this approach, when there is a lack of heuristic knowledge, a lack of a personal heuristic repository amongst teams, using AI to do it will at least fill some gaps while people are continuing to build, because they still need to build that. It's really sad when a UX professional does not know anything about heuristics. That's one of the first things you should learn. And no, they don't teach it at boot camps, but and you're not going to find many articles about it either. So, but if you don't have that, you really don't have that. Harshit mentioned this earlier, that foundation. You want a good foundation with your own personal UX practice, and heuristics will inform that. But if you don't have it, if you want progress now, if you have AI that'll do that, it's better than having nothing, no input from a heuristic perspective. So I think that's key.
Amazing. So due to the lack of time, we are ending this with the last question. So the last question is, this is the trending topic actually. Will AI eliminate the need for UX designers? Please put your views in brief. First to Harshit.
No, if I have to answer in short,
Yeah.
because of the lack of time. But yeah, just saying that, yeah, this, I mean, I think by now we should really sort of start focusing on the real issues, because let me answer this in a slightly broader context than just UX. The fear of sort of automation, or the fear of what are all these sci-fi movies, right? Like the end of humanity or whatever. They really reflect the problem, the real problem at hand, and they really sort of make people think that, okay, that is the real problem, like this end of humanity thing is the real problem. But the real problem of AI is the sort of problems in ethics and bias, in sort of not understanding human needs, in sort of making decisions that are not probably right from a cultural level, from sort of the human expectation level. All of those things are the real problems of today that AI is already resulting in. And if we stop deflecting the problem to sort of this bigger dystopian kind of view that AI is here and now we can't do anything. Like we just have to wait till AI takes over our jobs. That is going to not solve anything, right? So I think it's very important to get onto this technology, understand that the real issues are more about is the data set that you're collecting distributed and diverse enough? Is it solving the real problems that it was intended to solve? Is it applicable? Like, is your AI solution applicable across cultures, or do you have to fine tune things for different kinds of cultures? Are people aware of the data collection policies of your platform? Are you jeopardizing privacy of certain people for your own sort of AI needs and benefits? Like, these are the real problems that only UX designers can solve. Because,
Yep.
like, I think at the very beginning, both Darren and I mentioned, the technologists or the engineers are about creating more accurate solutions, improving accuracy of identifying images or whatever. They're not, they also are sometimes, but it's not their responsibility to think of the human end of things. So as UX designers, it's actually much more important for us to start immersing ourselves in this conversation than thinking that we're going to be replaced. Yeah.
I totally agree with Harshit. Absolutely not. Number one. And then my other answer is similar to his. UX professionals are responsible for more things than just designing. we don't just design. We manage UX maturity levels. We mentor. We have UX strategy efforts, and AI can't address any of those things. We can partner with it though, and I look forward to having some AI-driven UX initiatives in my future as well. But there are some things that AI will never touch, and I've got to use what he said: the UX apocalypse. There will not be a UX apocalypse because of AI. That's not what's coming. So no, you can get those Mad Max and all that other stuff out of our head. That's not gonna happen.
And if I could just very quickly add, because like I think this question gets asked so often,
Yeah.
that if a task were to be automated, then that is going to be automated regardless of what you do. Because I'm speaking from sort of the context of there were horse carts earlier to move from point A to point B, then cars were invented, cars replaced horses, right? And that is going to happen. But does that mean that UX as a field has been automated or replaced? No. That only means that you do things that require more of the human angle to doing those things, and you sort of evolve as a discipline to do those things. So I think thinking from that lens, and that is why you should be aware of, okay, what are AI technologies, what can they automate? Maybe then you don't have to sort of spend time doing those things, but there will be this plethora of things that are your domain only, and that is something you should then start focusing on. So just sort of being mindful of these things, I think, is more important, and that can only happen by actually immersing yourself in this space rather than being fearful of it.
Yes.
Absolutely agree to what you all said. And with that, we come to an end of questions. And yes, lack of emotional intelligence. Yes, that's right. I think we can sum up this by saying, of course, AI and UX can be a wonder when they come together. And this, if we take separately, of course, they are different, but they can do wonders when put together.
Yes.
So, okay, with that, we come to an end to this panel discussion. Thank you so much, Harshit and Darren, for joining us. We are really honored and humbled to have you here. And it gives us immense happiness. And we always love to have you here, Darren and Harshit. It was so good to have you here. And we were looking forward to having you here again in future as well. Thank you so much. Without any further ado, I would end this.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Prashant and everyone on the call. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, guys, we'll be attaching LinkedIn
Thank you.
IDs for both the panel members here so that you can connect with them and ask any further queries or questions that you have. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed that talk. So, did we nail it? Did we present AI the way that we should be looking at UI? I hope everybody got a lot out of this talk. Hey, don't drink the AI Kool-Aid. It's going to be a great tool, but it has to be used responsibly. It has a very high error rate, folks. We have to be wiser. We have to be smarter. We have to be responsible with our use of this and any other technology for that matter. But again, I hope you enjoyed it. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out the kaizentees.com website. Until next week, this is Darren Hood, the host of The World of UX, signing off. Happy UXing, everybody.